Happy Wednesday, everybody. Glad you could join me for this 7th episode of the Southern Conservative Podcast. Right now, as I'm recording this podcast, it's about 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and so this is going to be a short podcast. With my pharmacist schedule, expect every other Wednesday podcast to be rather brief. So it seems like every day we're getting new text messages from Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. Here's what we already have learned and what we've discussed here on this channel. Strzok and Page were prepared to use an insurance policy that was discussed with a guy named Andy, we believe to be Andrew McCabe, number 2 guy at the FBI, in the event Trump would be elected president. When you piece together all of the other bits from the dossier scandal, it most likely means using the dossier as a means of obtaining a FISA warrant to spy on the Trump campaign and his transition team. Strzok and Page exchanged messages stating that Loretta Lynch already knew Hillary Clinton was going to be exonerated by James Comey in the email scandal. This message came just before Hillary Clinton was interviewed by the FBI, and it's proof that the fix was in because we already had evidence of Comey's conclusion being altered to downplay the seriousness and illegality of Hillary's behavior. Peter Strzok was the lead investigator of the email scandal, and he is believed to be heavily involved in changing the language of Comey's statement, including how Hillary mishandled classified information, changing the language from grossly negligent to extremely careless. Well, now we have more text messages that have come out. Now remember, Strzok was leading the counterintelligence division at the FBI, who had started the Trump-Russia collusion investigation before the special counsel got involved. When Strzok was deciding whether he wanted to join the special counsel investigation team, he sent this message to Lisa Page. "You and I both know the odds are nothing. If I thought it was likely, I'd be there, no question. I hesitate in part because of my gut sense and concern there's no big there. So let's put all of this together. Strzok led the investigation into Hillary's mishandling of classified information and her use of a private email server. Evidence clearly shows that the fix was in. There was never an intention to prosecute Hillary Clinton. The same man goes on to investigate Donald Trump in potential collusion with Russia. He's discussing using an insurance policy with Lisa Page in case Trump was elected president, and he mentions the involvement of Andrew McCabe, or at least that's who we think Andy is in reference to. And the insurance policy is most likely surrounding the use of a dossier to obtain FISA warrants to spy on Trump, his campaign, and his transition team. And who paid for the dossier? The woman Strzok helped to let off the hook for mishandling classified information, that being Hillary Clinton. The money eventually gets to Fusion GPS. The co-founder of Fusion GPS, Glenn Simpson, is in communication with Bruce Orr, who at the time was the Associate Deputy Attorney General at the Department of Justice. His wife, Nellie Orr, works for Fusion GPS. And Christopher Steele, the man hired to create the dossier, which is full of lies and Russia propaganda, was in communication with the FBI. So what you see here, folks, is a well-coordinated effort by people in the DOJ, the FBI, and the Hillary Clinton campaign to try and take down Donald Trump. But before joining the special counsel, Peter Strzok already knows that there is no there when it comes to Russian collusion, but he joins the special counsel anyway. Now, of course, we know that there was no there because Peter Strzok, again, he was part of the original investigation conducted by the FBI. So you have people on the special counsel that already knows that there's no collusion. So then what's the whole purpose of the investigation? Well, let's take a look at an article that was written earlier today by Sarah Carter, who's been doing an amazing job trying to get to the bottom of this dossier scandal. She writes, the latest batch of text messages between the pair of embattled FBI agents at the center of the special counsel's probe into President Donald Trump's campaign and alleged Russian collusion reveals that one of the agents may have seen his participation in the investigation as a path to impeaching President Trump, said several congressional sources. The recent text messages between FBI Special Agent Peter Strzok and FBI Attorney Lisa Page were turned over last week by the Department of Justice to 6 congressional committees. Those text messages, as previously reported, shed new light on the political leanings, unvarnished bias, and possibly a concerted effort by some members of the FBI to influence Robert Mueller's special counsel investigation, congressional sources reveal. More importantly, said Representative Jim Jordan of Ohio, a member of the House Judiciary Committee, is the text where Strzok is discussing whether to join the special counsel, as well as his previous involvement in the FBI investigation into presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server. Representative Jordan said that the impeachment text is extremely concerning because of how it's framed and in the context of the onslaught of text messages reviewed by congressional members. It also shows possible intent on the part of Strzok to influence the special counsel's office investigation, he said. In an August 2016 text message, Strzok tells Page, "I want to believe the path you threw out for consideration in Andy's office, that there's no way he gets elected, but I'm afraid we can't take that risk. It's like an insurance policy in the unlikely event you die before you're 40. The reference to Andy is believed to be current Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, who announced he is retiring from the FBI in March, and the insurance policy reference is being investigated by several congressional committees, which have access to the full scope of the text messages. Representative Jordan said the August text message, in conjunction with the text messages recently released, is, quote, deeply concerning and illustrates strong indications that the pair needs to be fully investigated. He added that, quote, the best way to understand the text messages is by looking at the full scope of their communications. On Tuesday, Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, chairman of the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee that requested the text messages, released 2 pages of Page and Strzok's communications. In one of the newly released text messages regarding last year's announcement of the special counsel investigation, Strzok tells Page that his gut sense and concern is there's no there. But then at 12:36 a.m. on March 19th, 2 days after the special counsel has convened, Strzok texts Page saying, quote, for me in this case, I personally have a sense of unfinished business. Unleashed it with the MYE, now I need to fix it and finish it. Strzok, who was also a central figure in the Trump-Russia investigation, which began in early summer of 2016, might be referring in this text to that particular investigation. MYE is the acronym for their code name Mid-Year Exam, a reference to the Clinton investigation, which Strzok was also involved in. Strzok then goes back and forth in text messages with Page, who is apparently trying to talk him out of joining the special counsel investigation. Then at 12:40 a.m., he sends another message in reference to the special counsel saying, who gives a F, one more AD like, and the name's redacted, or whoever. An investigation leading to impeachment? Strzok, who was Deputy Assistant Director of the Counterintelligence Division at the FBI, was removed from the special counsel's office after the DOJ Inspector General Michael Horowitz uncovered nearly 50,000 text messages between the agents, who were also having an affair. He was moved to the FBI's Human Resources Office. So the entire investigation was about impeaching President Donald Trump, or so it seems. There's no collusion here. Well, in reality there is. The real collusion is on the part of top officials within the intelligence community who did not want to see Donald Trump elected president. And believe me, folks, if Hillary Clinton was elected instead, none of this would have come to light. There's more with Peter Strzok's text messages that I'll get into tomorrow, including messages about a secret society within the FBI. We'll also talk about the missing text messages between Strzok and Page. 5 months worth of text messages are missing. And apparently, there's many people within the FBI who were affected by this blackout stemming from the use of Samsung 5 cell phones. In this case, you're talking about gross negligence on the part of the FBI to let this go on for 5 months across an entire agency and affect thousands of people who work at the FBI. It's just incredible. Anyway, be sure to check out my Facebook page. Go to facebook.com/Southern Conservative. That's facebook.com/Southern Conservative. There you will find links to articles from conservative outlets on news you probably won't hear about in the mainstream media. Plus, you'll find links to every podcast that you hear on this channel. And be sure to subscribe to this channel. You'll be notified every time a new podcast is posted. New podcasts are posted daily, Monday through Thursday. And just as a reminder, there will be no podcast on Wednesday, February 7th. Well, that's all for today, folks. We'll continue this conversation tomorrow. I hope you'll join me then.